Welcome to Pegwarmers. I'm Kevin, and I'm here to talk about toys. Today, I'm talking about collecting cardboard. Just hold on for a second. We all know people that collect mint on card and mint and sealed box toys. Whether you're a loose collector or a mint in package collector, you can understand where those people come from, right? There's the toys deserve to be played with people. There's the I want a pristine copy of it on display people. And then there's most people are kind of somewhere in the middle. They keep certain things carded and open certain things. But you kind of get that. But what about the people that save all the packaging? That's what I'm talking about today. Collecting the cardboard. People have commented about me flexing with some of these boxes up here. I actually moved from one location to the other in my basement several weeks back because I wanted this as a background for this very video when I first got the idea and started coming up with some notes for it. And I wasn't quite ready, but I thought the lighting was better over here. It's a little dark in the other section. The other section of my basement's kind of out of the way a little bit more. This is actually right at the bottom of the steps. My little studio thing is like you're literally tripping over lights to come down here. But this was a great backdrop for this video, and I've just been using it. People seem to like it. I may eventually move somewhere else. So why do we save packaging? Why did I save all these cardbacks? I mean, these Star Wars ones don't have any information on the back that's worth having. But they do have, the photos on the front. They're kind of neat. The Superpowers ones have sort of nostalgic feelings to them. They have some cross-sell on the back, which maybe has some value in the future. To me, right? I might want to look at the waves again from this line. Here's a Super 7 Motu card back and a Mattel modern card back, right? Very similar on the back. These have bios, very brief bios, kind of one-sentence bios, but they're kind of fun, and I enjoy the artwork that was created for these. I don't know for sure. At one point, I thought that maybe I would do something with these related to Pegwarmers. I don't know. I've been saving them before this show existed, but I think doing the show kind of enticed me to save them a little more. There's a Power Rangers Samurai card back. There's stuff in this box. When I start digging deeper, this is all modern stuff, and I hope it's not making too much noise in the mic. Look, here's the Land of the Lost card backs that I had opened up on episodes of the show. Ooh, this one needs to go. This one's got something growing on it. That's disgusting. Sorry. Now I'm investigating what's happening in this box. Now, I don't know if there's anything super... Oh, there is some pretty old stuff in here. I have a big stack of vintage Ninja Turtles card backs here. I was thinking about that I had these Nicktoons Turtles card backs, and I loved these because they had the bios on the back. But it's a little crazy that I'm saving these. I do have proofs of purchases and the bios and the accessories. These card backs from Ninja Turtles actually are really great if you try to complete these guys or sort them out because they have their accessories listed on the back. So there's some value, some informational value in having these, right? Right? That's the reason I'm saving them. The real reason for saving a lot of this stuff is the artwork. Some toy lines have drawings, some toy lines have photos of the actors, some have photos of the toys. But the really good lines had, especially in the heyday of toys, or my childhood, right, the 80s, we had these amazing paintings that are fantastic. Really make it exciting, make the toys come to life. That's the reason I hang on to that stuff. Honestly, though, I also use some of these boxes for storage. This Eternia box has other empty boxes inside of it. I don't think there's anything inside the Mobile Command Center box, but it used to be inside a Terradrome box with a whole bunch of other boxes inside of it. All those boxes might still be in the Terradrome box. I pulled it apart. I wanted to put the Terradrome up here, but it didn't really fit. The box was too deep. It didn't want to sit on the ledge. I felt like Eternia kind of was as far out as it could come. And I kind of do hope it's not deforming it. I have only a Sky Striker box sitting on top, which is very light, because I don't want to, press it down and deform the box. The Mobile Command Center, which sits firmly on the shelf, has a Millennium Falcon and some other G.I. Joe boxes on top of it. making it a little bit safer. I have a USS Flag box. You want to talk about big boxes. That is an enormous toy with an enormous box. And my flag box is not in great shape. It has a lot of like duct tape on it. Clearly, whoever owned my flag before me either kept their flag in it and took it in and out a lot, or they stored some other random thing like Christmas decorations inside it in their garage. I'm lucky to have the box, but it takes up a ton of space. It's actually something I'm trying to figure out down here in the basement. How can I display it? These boxes went up here first and kind of took up the whole space. I could throw the flag up here, but then I have to find a place for Eternia and the Mobile Command Center. And there just aren't a lot of great spots for these boxes, and I am worried about putting them on the floor because of the possibility of water someday. But in reality, the flag box is sitting on the floor right now on one of its ends. These boxes have a lot of history and a lot of value to them. The Eternia box shows off characters from that final year of the toy line, as well as some earlier figures, I think, like Battle Cat and Stinkor's there. But, you know, it's showing off a lot of the newer figures. The Mobile Command Center shows off, I don't know, maybe half of the figures released that year, which is phenomenal. What a great way to advertise the figures as well as the playset. When I was first writing the script for this episode, I checked on eBay to see what the value was of some of these boxes, and it's hard because a lot of times the boxes aren't selling by themselves, so it's hard to discern exactly what the value of the box is, but I found a really nice flag box with its inserts for $1,500. My box is beat, but I'm sure I could get at least $300 for it. Then, of course, there's the Defiant. I don't own a Defiant box. I'm not really sure I want to find a Defiant box. I mean, if it fell in my lap, I'd have to put it in the collection. I'd have to figure something out for it because it's fantastic, but it is enormous. And so, you know, that becomes a challenge of how do you store that? How do you display it? What the heck do you do with it? One of the things I get random comments about when I switch to sitting over here is this generic cardboard box behind me. It's a Hasbro box. Why does it get a prominent spot here with the other carded boxes? Well, it fits. Why would I be giving that box a place of honor? That is a sealed in the shipper box vintage collection big Millennium Falcon. Someone on eBay was asking $650 for a sealed in box one. I don't know what one sealed in the shipper goes for. I haven't seen one on eBay anytime I've ever checked. That one was a Christmas present for me. My mom ordered it from Amazon when I used to live with my parents. When it was brand new, whatever it sold for at retail at the time, she decided it was something I would probably want. She's probably right. But I had nowhere to display it. My collection was completely maxed out when I lived with my parents towards the end. I had just, I had very limited space. And so a lot of things just didn't get opened. A lot of things weren't on display. And so the Millennium Falcon just stayed in its box. I took it down into my parents' basement and actually stored it on top of their oil tank in the basement. Just slid it right on top. And I don't know, a year later, year and a half later, whenever it was, 2 years later that I moved out, I bought my first house, I took it with me. And in the new house, I was trying to redo rooms and paint and fix things up. And so my collection wasn't on display right away. And things got shoved in closets. And it was in a giant closet upstairs once I redid the upstairs closets. I don't know where it was at first, just in my garage or in my, I don't know, some other room in the house. But eventually, the flag box and the big Millennium Falcon went up into a hall closet that I called the toy closet, where I would keep duplicates of things and just some stuff that I didn't really have a place to display yet. And it's been sealed all this time. I don't know what to do with it, to be honest. It kind of sucks displaying this giant cardboard box like that. It's not interesting. Slitting the tape and having it be just the art box would be more interesting for display. I'm not really sure what to do with it. I've thought about possibly trying to sell it, or possibly trying to buy a loose complete ship and then selling this one. I don't really know. It's a fantastic toy. I've seen it out of the package several times. But it's possibly too valuable to slit the tape on it at this point. Let me know in the comments down below what you think I should do with my big Millennium Falcon. Should I sell it and use the money to buy a loose complete one? Should I just leave it in the shipper box forever and let my my children deal with it when I die? You know, what are your thoughts? This Eternia box, I know I keep coming back to Eternia, but when I was buying Eternia, very good friends of mine didn't have place to display their Eternia. They wanted to, you know, pass it on to a collector that would enjoy it, and they kind of made me an offer I couldn't refuse. I paid them quite a bit more than what they had paid for it, because they had had it for a long time, but I got a steal. I got it for a steal. It is mostly complete. I think I'm missing 2 or 3 parts to it, and the day that we were kind of negotiating this deal, I kept being told, have you seen the size of the box for Eternia? And we were going to a toy show that day, and someone had the box to Eternia there. And I was like, holy cow, now I have seen the size of the box to Eternia. We have made jokes about it for years, randomly on texts and chats and things like that. It's amazing. It's huge. I love having that on display. I do have a Snake Mountain box and a Fright Zone box. One or both of them may actually be inside there. Again, it's hard to find space to display everything. When it comes to modern toys, I keep buying these amazing made-for-collector toys that come in amazingly huge boxes. I just got the Super 7 Thunder Tank. I just actually opened that before I was filming this episode. I want to do a video on it. But it came in an outer box, an inner box, and a art box. Plus it had styrofoam inside it, and the foam has the Thundercats logo on it. What do I keep? Right? I bought it for the toy. The toy's going to take up a ton of space in my collecting space here. But I can't bring myself to throw out the art box. Do I need to save the foam? Do I need to save the shipper box? Do I need to save the outer shipper box? The outer shipper box is actually the most interesting part to me, because it says that I have Thunder Tank 130 out of a very limited number. I can't be sure that that's the total number of Thunder Tanks that were produced, but I highly suspect that that is. And so that box is kind of cool. It tells me how rare it is. I was just recently hanging out with my buddy Nick. He's a toy collecting friend of mine. You may have seen him if you watched older videos of this channel when I would go on like road trip cons, like to Joe Fest and things like that. Nick was always the guy driving the car. And he and I were just hanging out recently. He was a big-time G.I. Joe box collector for a while. I was talking to him about some of this stuff. Like, what do you do with these boxes? The HasLab Sky Striker had an art box, had an outer box, had an inner box, right? And he was telling me if it had the logo or the name of the toy line, he would have to keep it, right? And we were talking about the shipper boxes. Once in a while, you see a shipper box for a Defiant or a Flag sell for crazy money. And I was like, I don't think I want those in my collection. I mean, if somebody just, like, willed it to me, like they died and I bequeathed it, I'd have to keep it. But I don't think I would go out of my way to buy them because it's mostly a big cardboard box like this one here with a Joe logo on it. It's super neat. It's super rare that someone has it, but I would rather display the art box, right? And Nick was like, well, if it had the brand, I'd have to keep it. So the Thunder Tank box, the outer shipper box is the most beat up one. But it's the one that's the most interesting to me because it has that fact about possibly how many were produced or which number mine is. The inner box is totally pristine, just a Super 7 box. But I honestly think I'm just keeping the art box. I might keep the foam just because it'll keep the box's shape if I ever stack it with other things stacked on top. Other things I have a giant cardboard box. It's like a cube. It's the inner shipper box from the Super 7 Snake Mountain. I threw out the outer box, kept the inner box, kept the art box. Inside the art box is the Mattel Motu Classics Grayskull box. It's rare to be able to nest these kind of boxes like that. It's great for moving them around or if you don't have the ability to display them. But, like, again, I'm staring at a cardboard box over here, not seeing Snake Mountain or Grayskull, and that's kind of disappointing. I have the HasLab shipper box to Hero Quest. Is that going to be valuable someday? Do I need to hang on to that? I don't think I can bring myself to hang on to that cardboard box. I'm sorry. I also have a shipper case for the Michael Bay Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadow Technodrome playset. I'm not keeping that. I actually got that. It was shipped to me The case was opened, one was taken out, and then a bunch of the figures, I think, were shoved in there, or some other toy from the line was shoved in that box and shipped to me to do reviews back when we were doing SEO Toy Review by Playmates, or an ad agency that was working with Playmates. And the box had, like, labels taped over the sides of it and things like that. But it says on it, like, it's street dated for the stores when they could put it on the shelves and things like that. I don't think I'm keeping that box. In fact, I wrote on the top of it, lunch boxes. I used it to bring some of my vintage lunch boxes to this house from the old house. But I think it's got to go. I don't really see it having some immense value later. I do have some other vintage boxes on display on top of shelves. The Killer Whale, I paid $40 for that box one time. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. The Tomahawk box I have sitting on top of that. My all-time favorite G.I. Joe vehicle. I have to have that box. Plus, features so many of the 86 characters that I love. I've got a Bug box. A friend gave that to me for free one time at a con. The artwork on the front is great. The back is, like, totally sun-faded and bleached out. It looks pretty nice on display. I don't have to own that one as much. I also have the Night Raven box, which is a really nice-looking box. Doesn't interest me quite as much. Only because it doesn't really have a lot of the characters on it. I really like boxes like the Whale or the Tomahawk where they're filled with characters. The Night Raven has a lot of artwork of just the Night Raven. And I also have a vintage Sky Striker box, and now the HasLab Sky Striker art box that are almost identical to each other. Like, which one do I display? Do I need to make space to display them both? I don't know. What do you guys save? How much stuff do you have in storage that's like this? Cardbacks, cardboard boxes. What do you do? What do you think I should do? I keep a lot of it because I really like it. I do part with certain things. I really should slim down this box. I don't think all of this is necessary at this point. It's kind of crazy. I paid storage for this cardboard when I moved and had this in a storage unit. Or at least some of it I've added to the box since then. You know. I know there's a lot of value in the vintage boxes. People are looking for those. Will there ever be value in the modern boxes? I could see it for the Super 7, ultra collectible things that they're only making a few thousand of, perhaps. But I think all the people that buy it are going to try and save that box. So maybe that box won't even be that rare. But things like the new McFarlane Superpowers, that Supermobile or the Batmobile, like that box is never going to be worth anything. I don't think. That's my suspicion. I think I'm going to get rid of that box now. It's been sitting around in my basement for a little while. I've been talking about saving toy packaging, but what's the reason for the packaging, right? One, they need to get the toy to retail and from retail to your home safely, right? It needs to be able to be packed into a truck, shipped to the store, then has to hang or sit on a shelf at the store and sell you on it, right? It needs to catch the kid's eye. It needs to catch the gift giver's eye. It needs to project value so someone will buy it and bring it home. And it needs to keep all the pieces safe until you open it up. Packaging serves a lot of purposes. So why do collectors hang on to all this stuff? What's the reason we save it? Maybe not so much because it protected the toy originally, although some toys people do put back into their boxes to store them or to move them. But oftentimes things don't really fit back in their boxes that well once you assemble them. Let's be honest. But the artwork and the imagery that sells you on the value and shows you how exciting it is, that stuff kind of retains a little bit of value. The informational pieces about the characters, about the accessories, the beautiful artwork that made the toy come to life. That stuff is the reason we are nostalgic for the packaging. And once you start saving the old stuff, then you start saving the modern stuff too, because eventually the modern stuff will become vintage stuff, and you'll look back on it and be like, oh yeah, I remember this. This was great, the 2012 Ninja Turtles. What a fun show. I loved getting these figures. The artwork on the package is beautiful. It's absolutely inspiring. Look at these amazing battle scenes going on these boxes, and it adds value. If you sell the toy with the box, generally people are willing to give you a little bit more for it. Sometimes a lot more for it, depending on the collector, depending on the item, and the condition, of course. What kind of a packaging collector are you? Do you rip it all open and throw it all out? Do you save it? Are you purposely collecting packaging? For a long time, I didn't purposely collect boxes, and I still rarely go out of my way to buy them. If they come new to me as a modern toy, I usually keep them. If I find a vintage toy with its box, and it's kind of in the price range I wanted to pay, then I'm happy to have it. I don't think I've sold too many boxes on purpose. Like a vintage box that came into my collection, I don't usually flip them. But, you know, there's also people that have no interest in the boxes, so I get them wanting to try and sell the stuff. When I was moving, I actually had a couple shelves in my living room. I had like an estate sale to sell off duplicates and things that I didn't want to move with me. And I actually had a couple shelves of $1 or $2 toy boxes that I was trying to sell, and nobody bought any of them. They were all like 2000s Star Wars like prequel ship boxes, but I had saved the boxes, and I thought, well, if there's somebody who is now nostalgic for them and wants them, I'd be happy to, you know, basically give them to them. But nobody bought them. I ended up taking those boxes into my work and just recycling the cardboard. You know, maybe in 20 years from now, someone will be really upset. The only box I think I saved, I might have saved the Episode 2 Slave 1 box, and I saved the Imperial Gunship box based on the Cartoon Network show. It's a really beautiful box. I don't know what to do with it exactly because the artwork on the front of the box is just basically a photo of the toy. And for all the space the toy takes up in my collection, I don't know if I really also want to take up space for that box. But I didn't feel right getting rid of it because it's just a little bit more impressive than, say, a Jedi Starfire. It's just a little bit more impressive than a Jedi Starfighter box. I hope you guys found this episode interesting. It's something that's been on my mind for a while. I'm trying to come up with some topics to talk about that are toy-related, where it's sort of something that we do as collectors. Some of the early episodes of Pegwarmers were about toy storage and toys that break and things like that, not just always a review of something new or an overview of a toy line. I'm trying to set some stuff up so I can shoot with some of the guests I had in the past. We're heading towards summer, which is when my schedule kind of opens up a little bit more, making it a little easier for me to plan and shoot things. I've got some stuff kind of lined up loosey-goosey. I got to nail down some dates to shoot with some people, so that way we can hopefully do some other styles of videos, right? More like the old style. I have a video I want to get to about a toy show I was at recently, and a few other ideas that I'm working on. So please hit the like button, share this video with a toy collecting friend. If you want to support the show financially, consider joining the Patreon. There is bonus content there from time to time, and a Discord channel on the second tier with a bunch of great collectors that, share pictures of stuff that's new to their collection and things like that. Thanks for hanging on the peg with me.